Unable to trade him, apparently unable to buy him out, the Knicks have released center Enes Kanter. But when was the last time you heard a GM like Scott Perry say something like this? Quote, he is a courageous individual and we thank him for his many contributions, both on the court and in the community. Knicks also waived Wesley Matthews. And we're not showing the night of his horrific injury. Instead, it's the good news for Karis LeVert, back in the Brooklyn Nets lineup for Friday night's game against the Bulls. He's been out since he dislocated his right foot on November 12th.
The trade that everybody was waiting for, well, it never happened. 10 days after Anthony Davis told the Pelicans he wanted out, he wants to be traded. No, he's still a member of the New Orleans Pelicans. Brian Windhorst still a member with us here at ESPN as well. And Brian, I mean, how bad could this be? Are we looking at a potential standoff between Anthony Davis and his team?
Yeah, now we're going to pivot here to the next layer of this. Anthony Davis and his agent have made it clear he wants to go back to normal, which is start playing immediately and for every game the rest of the season. No rest, no healthy scratches, no DNPs. He wants to resume his all-star status. But as of this afternoon, his agent, Rich Paul, told me that the organization had not informed him of a decision yet. Now, they kept him on the sidelines the last 2 games, even though he was cleared to play. And from a franchise standpoint, Stage, concern over injury and, frankly, maybe you want to improve your draft position would dictate not having him play. This is an unusual situation. We'll see how it goes, and the league will be watching.
On the other side, you've got the Lakers, and it seemed like all these trade talks took a toll on those guys. What is next for the Lakers?
You know what? Yeah, it did take a toll. They had a bad loss, but I think the Lakers have had a really good couple of days here. They made 2 trades that added shooting to their roster and Mike Muscala and Reggie Bullock. They opened up a roster spot where they can add another player. And starting tonight, those players know that they're going to be with this team going forward. So while they didn't exactly handle the negotiations, which spilled out into all of our timelines very publicly, maybe that wasn't ideal. I think the Lakers and their front office have done a good job, and I also want to commend them. Luke Walton got into it with Michael Beasley last week. They've been criticized for not having Luke Walton's back. They went and got rid of Michael Beasley today, and that's a stand of accomplishment for Luke Walton.
Yeah, that absolutely says a lot. By the way, 2.5 games back of the Clippers for the 8th and final spot in the West right now for the playoffs. And by the way, BPI says they've got the 3rd toughest remaining schedule. They've got a lot of work still to be done. Brian Windhorst, thank you.
Because today's player moves and player move rumors are insufficient, and we thus are already looking towards next summer's, Kevin Durant is not happy. He read something speculative about him and the Knicks. That's his mistake in this equation. Why would you read that? And in that measured, way too low-key, slow burn, please, why don't you just get over it and yell at us already way of his, Durant was unhappy with the media last night. After a 39-point win, while 9 games in front of the division, $1.50 in front of his conference. And remember, you can't spell Durant without R-A-N-T.
I didn't feel like talking the last couple of days.
It was anything in particular?
No, I just ain't feel like it.
Had anything to do with conversation about free agency?
Yeah, that's the conversation you're going to have. I don't think about that type of stuff. That's your job.
You've obviously been around the noise for so long. Is it bothering you more this year? Is it louder this year?
It's unnecessary. You got a dude, Ethan Strauss, who come in here and just give his whole opinion on stuff and make it seem like it's coming from me. And he just walk around here, don't talk to nobody, just walk in here and survey and then write something like that. And now y'all piling on me because I don't want to talk to y'all about that. Y'all come in here every day, ask me about free agency, ask my teammates, my coaches, you rile up the fans about it. Y'all let us play basketball. That's all I'm saying. And now when I don't want to talk to y'all, it's a problem with me. Come on, man. Grow up. Grow up. What's the problem? What am I doing to y'all?
You weren't talking to the media.
So? Who are you? Why do I got to talk to you? Tell me. Is that going to help me do my job better? Nah, bro. I didn't feel like talking.
We were all getting questions from fans like, what's wrong with Kevin? I just tell them, he's playing okay, but he's not talking right now.
I just don't trust none of y'all. Every time I say something, it's get twisted up and thrown out in so many different publications, try to tear me down with my words that I say. So when I don't say nothing, it's a problem. I just want to play ball. I want to go to the gym and go home. That's all.
How are you playing? How's the team playing in the last couple weeks?
I'm done. You know you don't care about that.
Okay, after that, Stephen A. Smith joins me here in Fun City, and we'll get to the trade deadline in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who thinks that until you get to the World Series, Super Bowl, or the finals, it's okay for athletes not to talk to the media. And I don't have a problem with Kevin Durant.
Right.
What's wrong with me?
No, nothing's wrong with you. I don't have a problem with him with Kevin Durant either because he's answered the question on numerous occasions. Now, obviously, he had to talk to the media for the previous 9 days, and we get all of that. And the scuttlebutt is that he may probably end up in New York City with potentially Kyrie Irving. We don't know that, but that's the kind of thing that we've been hearing. It's believed that the Knicks traded Porzingis to clear cap space for 2 max players, and obviously him and Kyrie Irving are foremost on their list. His relationship with Scott Perry, an executive from his days with the Seattle Supersonics before they transitioned to Oklahoma City, obviously that has something to do with it as well. But in the end, what I peeled from it, Keith, that's different maybe from everybody else, is when he said to the reporter, you walk into the locker room and you never talk to anybody, but then you turn around and write as if I said it.
Yeah.
So to me, if that is the case, then I think there's legitimacy to any athlete having a problem with you. It's one thing for you to say something. If I say something, you know I'm going to say I'm saying it. This is how I feel. It's another thing entirely for that athlete to perceive me speaking for him. And that's the problem that Kevin Durant is having, because if you look at the argument earlier with Draymond Green, if you look at the scuttlebutt about him leaving Golden State, where's he going to go? Why won't he stay? Et cetera, et cetera. That kind of stuff can turn people against you. And if anybody's going to be sensitive to that, it's Kevin Durant.
All right, trade deadline passes, and like you said, Anthony Davis was not going to be traded, and he wasn't traded. Was this all some scheme to make the Lakers chase their own tail? What went on behind the scenes?
You can make that argument. Here's what I was told. If Dell Demps had moved Anthony Davis as general manager for the New Orleans Pelicans, he would have been fired.
Wow.
He'd lose his job by the end of the year. You know, you had teams in smaller markets on the phone calling him, imploring him not to capitulate to the demands of the agent that is Rich Paul and Clutch Sports, who represents LeBron James, or some would say that is LeBron James' firm, for crying out loud. And they were hell-bent on making sure that this wasn't a situation where you capitulated, because unlike LeBron James, who was a free agent before he departed, you have a situation with somebody like Anthony Davis, who has a year and a half left on his contract in a small market where they're prepared this June to give you a 5-year, $240 million contract. In the event that you stay into next year, you can be the first $300 million player in NBA history with a 6-year Supermax deal. So they're taking all of those things into consideration, and they're saying there's really no excuse for you to leave if you're the NBA, if you're those respective teams.
All right, last question. All this AD drama, he doesn't get traded. Markelle Fultz got traded?
Hell yeah. About time. Markelle Fultz has been an absolute unmitigated disaster for the Philadelphia 76ers. We all know this. That's not to say he can't have a bright career, but clearly the problems don't appear to be just physical. It appears to be something else. In turn, what have you watched the Sixers do? Under the stewardship of Elton Brand, your new GM, a novice GM, he acquires Jimmy Butler in a trade. He acquires Tobias Harris in a trade. And now you got rid of Markelle Fultz. And oh, by the way, the 2 first-round and second-round picks you gave up to the Clippers, you got a first-round pick and a second-round pick back that may belong to Cleveland next year. As a result of that, the Philadelphia 76ers, with those 2 players, combined with Embiid, combined with Ben Simmons, are now legitimate title contenders in the Eastern Conference. You can't ask for more than that.
One and only Stephen A. Smith, thanks for taking the time. I'd give you the fist bump, but I think we'd both fall. No, we do it. All
That's right. I'm a bit long, all right? And you have more hair than me, and you look better than me. Good to be with you, buddy.
Still to come, reaction to LeBron and his comments on the business of basketball, and what's next for the Lakers after not trading for Antonio Davis. And to the association we go. Look at the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference right now. Milwaukee sits on top, 2 games ahead of the Toronto Raptors. Celtics sit third, followed by the Pacers and the Philadelphia 76ers. Most of those top teams, most of them were busy at today's trade deadline. The biggest move north of the border, Raptors making a move with the Grizzlies to bring Marc Gasol to Toronto. He spent his entire 11-year career with Memphis and will now be paired with Kawhi Leonard in Toronto's quest for a title. The Bucks, they're the ones with the best record in the East, in the NBA for that matter, and they nabbed Nikola Mirotic from the Pelicans. Mirotic gives the Bucks another shooter for a team who's making 13 threes per game this season, which is second most in the league. And the Sixers, once again, they made noise 2 nights ago, getting Tobias Harris in a 6-player deal with the Clippers. Harris in the middle of a career season, averaging over 20 points per game and over 43% from beyond the arc. ESPN NBA analyst Tim Legler joins me now. And Tim, nobody is satisfied apparently at the top of the Eastern Conference standings. Everybody knows, hey, LeBron's out. We got to go for this to win it now. I want to know now. We just saw the standings.
Yeah.
How would you rank these top 5 teams right now?
Yeah, I had an hour-and-a-half flight up here today, Sage, and I couldn't wait to land to see what happened while I was in the air.
Yeah,
It's
really?
amazing what happened at the top of the Eastern Conference. Let's get right into this. I think pretty clearly number 5, you're going to have to go with the Indiana Pacers. No Victor Oladipo. I love their chemistry. I love their toughness. I love their coaching. They don't have enough talent to be able to hang in there. And honestly, Brooklyn might be a better team than them when the playoffs start, but they're 7 games behind them. They're not going to catch them, but Brooklyn might be actually more dangerous once the playoffs start. Number 4, I'm going to go with the Toronto Raptors. That might seem kind of low, but it has more to do with these other 3 teams and what they've done lately, including today, than it does anything with Toronto. I think if I have one issue with the Raptors, I don't know if they have enough 3-point shooting when they get to a playoff series against some of these teams and enough firepower. Marc Gasol is obviously a big pickup, but depth and overall shooting might be a problem.
But that's fascinating. They bring in him, Gasol, and then they drop from 2 to 4.
For me, they do, and there's a reason here, and I'll get to it right now. Boston, to me, I'm going to put them at number 3. Now, they've won 9 out of 10. They're getting their act together defensively and offensively. Guys are accepting their roles. There's a pecking order now. I'm more consistent. I have more faith in what they are going to do every night because they're starting to buy in to what this is going to be. It took a long time, and Gordon Hayward still has his best basketball yet to come. I'll put them at number 3. Number 2, I'm moving Philly up there. Right now, on paper, this is the second best starting lineup in the NBA. And people worry about their depth. I don't worry about that anymore. Jonathan Simmons comes in, Mike Scott, James Ennis. You get Boban in there. This is a team now that's got the depth, but more importantly, Sage, they've got more guys in their starting lineup you can run your offense through than any of these teams. I think if they can find the chemistry, which is a big...
The chemistry is the one, with Embiid.
They could end up 4th or 5th easily if they don't find the chemistry. And for me, number 1 is going to be Milwaukee. And people might say, well, geez, they added Mirotic. Is that really enough to keep them there all year? There's something special about this team. They're top 5 both ends of the floor. They've got a true superstar leading them. Great 3-point shooting team. And now Mirotic is a perfect addition. But most importantly, this might be the most complete team I've seen start to finish. There's been no blip in the radar since the season started.
Yeah.
There's something special about them, and I love the way that they're coached. I think the Bucks still are going to be the number 1 team.
With Coach Bud leading the way there. But this is a very fluid situation.
Any
3,
of these
4,
teams
5.
capable of beating each other.
Absolutely. This is going to be a
series.
blast the last 30 or so games of the regular season. Tim Legler, thank you.
Thanks.